DJ Pickett, Hurricanes legacy out of Zephyrhills High School in the Tampa area. Chris Ewald, 4-star defensive back out of Chaminade. Where does Miami stand with these defensive back targets?
I think Miami is either at the top for Pickett right now or right there with LSU, maybe Oregon. His list is a little bit different. Georgia's certainly in there as well. But from talking to a few people here in the last week or so, it's pretty close. Here's the interesting part. Miami just brought in a new DBs coach. How are they going to recruit him, use him? Yeah, Chevis Jackson was a guy, it's ironic. He was at LSU as a player, and that's one of the schools that DJ's really taken a hard look at. He recently visited Baton Rouge. You have him. How is he going to coach him? Would he prefer him at safety or corner? That's something I need.
Yeah, I've got something on that real quick. I don't know that this might have been put out there before Jackson's hiring was finalized, but probably was already kind of known he was the guy. D Money at Kane's Insight, who usually has really good information, mentioned that Miami probably prefers DJ Pickett as a corner more so than a safety. Does that line up with what you've seen from him?
Well, it's the weirdest thing. Like I ran into Booker Pickett the other day at the Under Armour event in Orlando, and because his brother Cannon is a player, and he comes and I said, how's it going, DJ? Have you talked to him lately? Blah blah. Just small talking. Yeah. Booker's at least 6'3.5", and he said, "There's no doubt about it. DJ is definitely taller than me now."
Really?
And I'm like, holy crap! Because I was with DJ recently. I'm just around him enough. I don't think anything about it, but I mean, he's really tall, and he said he's at least 6'4", right? Like he's at least 6'4". And I watched DJ. Yeah, I know. And I watched DJ. Nobody will throw at him. I can't get any film of him.
Yeah,
like nobody can. They just were on the other side. And California Power, who he plays for, every kid that starts on that defense is going to play big-time football. There is no freebies. So they wouldn't throw it. The only video clip I got was worthwhile. He played offense for one play, and he scored. Shocker.
For one play.
For one play, and he scored. He made the kid look bad. He turned the kid around, and he ran a slant and scored. But anyway, I think that the idea now is if he doesn't work out a corner, we can always move him to free safety. So you can take it like Corey Raymond I ran into last year at a game. DJ was even there. He was at UF. Now he's at LSU. He says, I think DJ is the best player in the 25 class in Florida. I'm like, yeah, well, that's not. I agree. And he said, I think he can play corner. And I'm like, holy cow. I was just thinking about it because I'd always told DJ, hey, I think eventually you'll outgrow corner. You'll play safety.
Yeah.
He didn't care. He doesn't care. He's a one-word guy. Just, okay, whatever. Everything just kind of rolls off his back. He's a very quiet kid. But he's playing corner, and he's still lining up with guys that are 5'10" to 6 foot and hanging with them, and his length is ridiculous. I call him the spider because of his arms are so long. I think he's going to try that with any school like LSU. I know Corey will. If he goes to LSU, Corey's going to play him at corner. It sounds like Miami is too. So the rarest of the rare, man. Like there's just nobody that big that plays corner and is any good at it. But he's a really rare athlete. So if I would try him at it, no matter where he went, if I was a DB coach, because if you got a 6'4" corner, it changes your defense.
Speaking of corners, what about Chris Ewald from Chaminade? What's the latest on his recruitment? I know Miami's heavily after this player.
He might be their number one target, in my opinion. I don't know how Mario has it in all of South Florida. Number one, they need corners. David Lake wrote an article about this recently. Miami, for whatever reason, part of it's the SEC schools coming down and getting them, just haven't gotten the elite corners, even out of South Florida in the last decade. David did a good job like going through a list and talking about it. Ewald fits the profile. I don't give a you-know-what about what he's ranked. I've seen him enough, watched enough of his film. He's played against the top competition at Chaminade, top 10 corner. But his list, I've got it up here on the screen. He's got Miami the 8th of March. He's got LSU on March 9th. Auburn, March 19th, A&M, March 23rd, Tennessee, April 6th for unofficials. One of those is not like the other four, and that's 4 SEC schools. That gives me a little pause, and he's going back like Tennessee's a school it's trending with him, etc. He was previously committed to Michigan. He's a little more open to leaving than what a lot of South Florida kids are. Like he's just a different kind of kid. I'm curious to see what this ends up being like because this might be a all the way to signing day kind of deal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is typical of South Florida kids, but it puts Mario in a bad spot. You have to take him, no matter when he wants to come. I get it.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, he's a big-time player, but they can't miss on this. And how does that impact other recruits? it's just the life and death of recruiting in South Florida. If you're Miami, it's all in or all out. I think his commitment, a lot of people expect him to go to Miami. I'm just worried for the Canes. Will he scare off somebody else? Because they'll get at least one other good corner, but they really could use 3 in this class. If they could get him. If you don't get him on signing day, it's just awkward. I don't know how that works. And do you take 3 and take him 2? Pickett's one of them. He's the wild card of all.
Sure.
I'll speak for Mario. Yes. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't know who else they would covet more than him in South Florida as a corner. There's a few others, but they cannot lose him. And the SEC's really got his attention.
Well, another one Miami really covets is Ben Hanks Jr., 4-star corner. Had a Booker T. Washington. Now, this one I saw Gabby at 24/7 actually put Hanks in his mock class to Miami that he put out this week. And that pissed off a lot of Florida fans because his dad played at Florida. But how have you seen Ben Hanks' recruitment going so far?
Well, I've seen him as a sophomore. Saw him last year at the Canes camp. I've seen him play this spring. Everything I've been told is Miami's in a pretty dang good spot. The Florida thing gives me pause about what I've been, and I haven't asked Ben in the last 6. I've talked to him directly, but I trust the people around more than kids are savvy about how they talk about this, especially because who his dad is. I get it. Yeah. I get it. He's going to be educated on it, do interviews, which is good. Miami, Florida battles for a public school kid almost always goes UM's way, but his dad's a legacy. I don't know how you read that, and he's got offers from everybody, and he's extremely well coached. Ice Harris being the coach down there and all that stuff. He's another kid that can play free safety if you wanted him to, but he's a long corner. Miami's in a pretty good spot. I think he's the second best corner in South Florida next to Ewald. You could make the argument he's better, depends on who you want to talk to. But I think he's a really good player. I'm going to pick Miami here, and if Florida fans want to jump on that,
wow.
They can. But Miami, and I'm not picking on UF, but they've got a ton of talent in their secondary, and it is hard. It makes your eyes want to bleed to watch their secondary, how bad it is. And they got a ton of talent.